Hello again, and welcome to another episode of Malone Bailey's official podcast, Everybody Counts. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Raven Fournier, the Public Relations Coordinator here at Malone Bailey. Our podcast, Everybody Counts, features various perspectives on a variety of topics. We cover things from the latest SEC and FASB updates to discussions on firm practice management and culture. We try to explore trends and hot topics that affect us and those in our business. We invite you to tune in to hear from partners and staff alike. The conversation is always versatile, and everybody's input counts. I'm delighted to be joined today by Zeeshan Somani, Audit Senior here at Malone Bailey, and we are going to be discussing interpersonal skills in the workplace. So welcome, Z.
Hi, Raven. Thanks for having me today as a guest today. I'm excited to be here to talk about today's important topic.
Yeah, we're very excited to have you. So before we get started, why don't we have you give us a little bit of your background, Zeeshan?
Sure thing. I'm an audit senior currently here at Malone Bailey, and I joined the firm during October of 2014 after graduating from the University of Houston. I'm originally from Sugar Land and enjoy reading and playing basketball in my free time when I can get some free time with our deadlines, that is. I recently also starting reading the Game of Thrones series, so that's just a little bit about me.
Are you still on book one?
Yeah,
it's long books,
long books.
Well, we're glad to have you here, Z. I think you'll have some great input for this topic. You graduated not too long ago. You've been in the work field for about 3 years now. So hopefully you've learned some things and whatnot that have to deal with interpersonal skills in the workplace. I will also be chiming in a little bit. I assist in the firm's recruiting efforts and have given numerous presentations to students on interpersonal skills in the workplace. So between Zeeshan and I, we'll both be kind of chiming in. I think that interpersonal skills, this topic, along with a few of our other podcasts, are important for those who are about to graduate and enter the professional world. You know, I think communication is key, and it's important for students to understand how communication shifts when you get into the professional world. We recently saw a Robert Half study from 2017 that found that of the 2,200 CFOs they surveyed, 54% value hard and soft skills equally when filling a position. 10% actually gave more weight to soft skills. So this just kind of shows an interesting shift from not only hiring people with the highest GPAs or the best technical skills, but people who are also able to communicate effectively, whether they're in a client-facing role or in a role that deals more internal teams. So Zeeshan, in your own experience, why do you think interpersonal skills are important in the workplace?
Well, in my opinion, interpersonal skills are extremely important when you're speaking with clients. At the end of the day, essentially what we are providing our service, our time to our clients. And it is our job to make sure that we are professional when we're communicating with them. And whether it's through email or telephone, a lot of the times we usually communicate through email when things are simple enough that they can be communicated, but oftentimes we pick up the phone, we call the client, and during those time, that professionalism counts, those interpersonal skills counts into making a job efficient and effective. When we have tight deadlines in this industry, so when you don't have those interpersonal skills, it can affect the timeline of the job.
Right.
So in my opinion, the people who are comfortable or who are willing to practice interpersonal skills can really go far in this industry.
Right. And would you say that the way you've had to learn how to communicate in the professional world, was that a little bit of a learning curve when you graduated college to kind of figure out, okay, I'm in this professional setting now. I can't just pick up the phone and say, hey, this is Zeeshan. You have to have a little bit more professionalism there.
Certainly, in my experience before, I had other jobs such as a salesperson or similar experience that I had before coming to Malone Bailey. But those were of a different aspect where you're speaking to customers. But in this sense, the when you join versus you learn those skills as you come along. You have those you have some skills that you bring forth from your previous experiences, from your, whether it be from work or whether it be from school experiences. But certainly as you grow in this firm, you acquire even more interpersonal skills to make your job, to do your job more effectively.
Okay, gotcha. And here, I mean, you communicate with clients within your first year, right? I mean, we have you guys.
Yeah, that's an important part of growing. We certainly encourage everyone to communicate with the client. Certainly in the first year, it may be less than just so we are sure that the technical aspects are being communicated effectively.
Right.
But we encourage everyone in the firm to communicate with client. Communication is the key, as a big part of interpersonal skills.
Great. That's a great way to kind of learn, is to just get out there and try it. I think interpersonal skills are one of those things that those who are about to graduate probably aren't really considering. They're not thinking about it. It used to be get the grades and you'll be set, that kind of mentality that you just have to have the right GPA. And nobody really stopped to think, but do I know how to listen to people? Do I take in what people are saying? Do I get my message across via emails effectively? So now, we're actually seeing a lot more programs at these different universities that offer soft skill classes. They offer public speaking classes. Some of the accounting programs we visit at different schools even require their students to take these classes like business communications, which can really only benefit you in the long run. So communicating with your friends or even your professors when you were in school is very different from how you would communicate with people in the workplace. And it could take a little bit of getting used to for some. You can't email your boss 30 minutes after 9 a.m., letting them know you're going to be late for your third time this week because you overslept. In the professional world, that's a little bit unprofessional, and most places probably won't tolerate for long. So you kind of have to learn that bit of professionalism, like we said, and how to present yourself in that aspect. Now, some of you out there may be asking, what skills specifically are considered soft skills or interpersonal skills. You'll see we use that word interchangeably. Interpersonal skills are really going to include your verbal and nonverbal communication, which is kind of a given. Listening skills, which is something, nowadays we find that people listen to reply instead of listening and truly taking in what the other person you're having a conversation with is saying. Negotiation skills, problem solving, decision making, and assertiveness. These all fall under those listening skills and really play a large role in the professional world. So Zeeshan, which of these do you think are most important in the workplace, or have you found that you've seen more of in the workplace?
Well, I think all of these are extremely important. They're part of a whole, which makes your communication better. Communication within our firm, as well as those outside the firm, is of extreme importance. A few things that I've learned in my time here is to know your audience, and that would be essentially in any firm. Know your audience. Whether who are you talking to? Are you talking to your client, or are you talking to a member of your team? In my experience, I have seen that some clients respond better in certain way, whether if I'm more assertive, the client may respond better, versus some other clients where you have to walk around, you have to explain each certain points, but each point until you can get to a final resolution. Know your audience, and your message will be conveyed more effectively that way. And you have to do the same thing with your team members, whether you're communicating up or you're communicating down. Looking at knowing how your audience interprets your information and how they listen to your message will help you be a better communicator. And in all these situations, it is helpful to evaluate who you're speaking with and how they communicate. Communication is most effective when we use other people's communication style. Also, try to use empathy when communicating with others. Put yourself in the shoe of a person who you're communicating with, and try to understand why they think the way they do and how they come up with different solutions. This can open up a different way of thinking for you.
Right. I think that's a really good point to make because, again, a lot of times we don't really stop to consider who are we speaking with. We are just trying to convey the message the best way we know how. But if we take into consideration the person we're communicating with, it might help to get rid of some of that confusion that could arise later down the road. So that's a really good point to make. And what can you suggest that students do to improve their interpersonal skills before graduating?
Raven, there are many things that students can do before starting their first professional job. I would say first is practice listening in all conversation you have with friends, family, professors, etc. Practice not thinking of what you're going to say next, but instead just fully listen and digest what they are saying. Pay more attention to nonverbal cues you give others. According to some of the research I've read, nonverbal communication is as important, if not more important, than verbal communication. Things you can do. Do you have a scowl on your face or cross your arm when speaking to others? These could portray negative feelings to the people that you're communicating with. Be a great communicator. Let people on your engagement teams know where you're on in a task. Ask for help when you have questions. Suggest better way to do things. This, I would definitely say, one of the know what you don't know. It's always good to ask for help. It's always good to ask questions. People are always willing to help in professional setting. Be open to the thoughts and opinions of others. Not everyone in your office will have the same viewpoints as you on how to fix a problem. And finally, don't be scared. Everyone has gone through this situation when you're new to a professional world and are learning to navigate it. You'll make mistakes, but don't let that bring you down. Learn from your mistakes and use them to grow better.
Good. Well, that's great advice, Zeeshan. Thank you for all of that great information. So we have a couple more questions for you before we wrap up. This is called our This or That section. We will provide you with 2 options for something, and you have to quick answer with whichever comes first of mind to you. So we have 2 of them for you today. So the first one is soccer or cricket?
Cricket.
I was about to say, I knew you were a big cricket fan.
Yeah.
How did you get into cricket or watching cricket?
Well, I wasn't a big cricket player, but I watched some when I was growing up, and I've just started to get back into it and kind of play on the weekends sometimes.
Cool deal. It's a good hobby.
Yeah.
And then number 2, hot chocolate or coffee?
Ooh, that's a toughie. But I think I would have to go to hot chocolate. It's just, especially in the wintertime when you just take a sip of it and you're just in the cold, and there's no better feeling.
Yep. I would have to agree. Well, thanks so much again for joining us today, Zeeshan. We really appreciate your input and all the suggestions you have.
Thanks for having me, Raven.
I hope this information will help prepare some of our listeners that are about to head out into the professional world on how to communicate in the workplace and what to expect. We really appreciate all of you out there listening in and invite you to check out our website, www.malonebailey.com, for more information about public company audit services as well as some other useful resources. So until next time, thanks again for listening.